Good evening, everyone. As we come here, today we're going to talk about the Buddhism. About Buddhism, what is their belief and what is their concept of God and what is their practices. So here, as we see the picture, is Buddhist. The Buddhist is the pilgrimage or the image of Buddhist crossing his leg, and then sit on the throne and meditating. And here, Buddhism. What do you see when you hear the word Buddhism? What do you see when you hear the word Buddhism? Mostly, all of us, we see images and pilgrimage, right? Because their God, their present God, or the God that they can see is like, this kind of images, this kind of pilgrimage. And here, Buddhism is a religious, it's a worldwide religious, like Christianity or like Hindu. It's one of the religious originated in India in 6th century BCE. Originated in India. It's from the India in 6th century BCE, and no concept of God or deity. And in Buddhism, there is no absolute God. There is no God. There is no God who created this earth, and there's no deity of God. Because they emphasize strongly human capacity to save oneself. Most of the Buddhists, their teaching or their way of religious life is, humans have enough capacity to save ourselves, not upon God. And the next is individual work is enough to shape his destiny. Because of they emphasize strongly human capacity. So it is important for them, that is individual work or good deed. That is very important in Buddhism. Because that's enough to shape their destiny after life, dead after life. And the next is Buddhism has influenced the Far East and shaped the cultural pattern of Asia. And the Buddhists, most of the Middle East were Asian, and most of the Middle East, we all belong to Buddhism, like Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia, and the rest of things, the rest of the country in Middle East, we are shaped by the Buddhism. For example, in Myanmar, they cannot contrast Buddhists and their race, because it's mixed. Sometimes they say that they are like, what's your when we ask something, what's your religion? Then they said Buddhist, and what's your race? And also they said Buddhist, because the Buddhism shape and that is their culture. So they cannot contrast the word Buddhism with their race. And the next is Buddhist means enlightened one. Siddhartha Gautama. There is his name, Siddhartha Gautama. And the next, after he find a way, then his name changing into Buddha. It means enlightened one, the one who showed the way, the one who enlightened the way. And his life and teaching was transmitted orally for over 4 centuries before being documented in 1st century. Before it was like oral teaching. His teaching was transmitted, year by year or century by century. But in 1st century, it was totally full in documented. And the Buddha, the traditionally account, he was born in the ancient kingdom of the Sayas, now in modern places Nepal. And his father is Indian chieftain of the Sakya clan. His father clan is Sakya clan, and the Hindu Kshatriya as a warrior's caste. And we're going to talk about his story, how he was born and how he was raised up. So we're going to talk about the history of Buddha. One night before he was born, his mother dreamed. It's a little bit similar with Christianity, right? Mary, before he gave birth to Jesus Christ, there's a dream. And here, it's also she had a dream. In her dream, the white elephant entered into her womb. So in Buddhist country, they consider that white element as maybe the small god, or maybe honorable animal or things, because even nowadays there's some white elephant in our country, and they separated that elephant from the others, and they treated that white elephant good, very good. And then the Hindu priest interpret the dream, that the son become either a universal monarch or a universal teacher. If he remain in his home, he will become a universal monarchy, or if not, he will become a universal teacher. And after 10 lunar months, she visit to her parents. She visit to her parents in a neighboring village. But on her way, there is a park called Lumbini, and she, the child is already, the child need to be delivered. So she delivered that child on that park called Lumbini, and she born the child in that park. And then we don't know which one is true, because there said, in her dream, the Hindu priest interpret. But later on, that some documents said in his giving ceremony, the Hindu priest predict, if child remain at home, he will become a universal monarch, and that if he did not, he will become a Buddha, the one who enlightened. And after 7 days, his mother died, so his mother's sister take care of him. And his son, there was one time he was brought to the festival, and they left alone in that feast. Even here, the story similar with Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ was left and Jesus Christ was lost. But later on, one day found out that he was in the temple, and then discussing with the priest. A bit similar with Jesus Christ. Here, because he is very much interested into that festival, so they just left him alone. But when they came back, when they returned, the boy was seated crossed leg in the posture of yogi. When they come back, but the child is sitting on the somewhere and crossed leg in the posture of yogi, absorbed in a trance, like self-control. He meditate himself, and he brought up in great luxury and comfort. But in the traditional account, his father is like a king, and they are rich, so his life is so luxury. But at the age of 16, but he didn't satisfy with those old luxury. There is foresight that turned his life. At the age of 29, there is his turning point. The first one is this crippled old man living on his staff as he walked. This is the first sight, the first thing that he saw and considered. He considered this. And the second is a sick man. He saw a sick man again and suffering in pain. That there's two things happens in his life. And the third one is human crop being carried to a funeral pyre. And the fourth is claim ascetic make with a clean shaven head and wearing a yellow robe. These four things, this foresight made him into turn his way from the becoming to the king. He just left all those things, and then he turned into a Buddhist monk. But he struggled. His quest for the truth. He struggled. When he want to find out the truth, he struggled many things. He come to realize that self-modification that is not affected part to the identification of absolute, that cannot lead him to the absolute truth. So he realized that self-modification is not effective part way. So he decided to restore his healthy by eating and drinking, because before it, he just fasting and find a way, but he realized those things are not effective. And the temptation of Buddha, while he was finding his way, he just sitting on the tree, under the tree. That tree is Bodhi's tree. Under that tree, there's a personification of evil. That evil is called Mara. Confound and frustrated Siddhartha search. So there are three temptations that he was confronting in his life when he was searching away. It's almost the same like Jesus Christ, because even in Jesus Christ's life there is a temptation of Jesus Christ, right? Before he preached God's word. The first temptation, a cousin and former archenemy has revolted at home and taken his wife and imprisoned his father. This is first temptation, but he overcome it. And the second is censor the around Siddhartha's tree with instruction to subdue him by any means they might devise. This is the second temptation. And the third one is house of demon to terrify him. The demon, he pretend like very dangerous things, like maybe dragon or something like that can terrify him. But he overcome all these three temptations, and then he found out that there is a way. After he reached more deeper to the state of consciousness, he suddenly understood the case. He suddenly know what is the way. How can we reach out, or how can we release from that